Hey, I'm Sith King.
And I'm Sonic Sons.
We're the Rambling Reviewers.
And today we're looking at Moana from Disney.
Yeah, it's so okay it's average?
Yeah, this got really great Rotten Tomatoes score last time I checked. It was like 97 or something.
Yeah, but Frozen was popular too, and now I just consider that kind of okay.
I like Frozen better than this. Moana has, a sense of adventure, or at least they try to touch on it. Yearning for the sea and all that.
It feels like a paint-by-numbers story that they tried to graft a modern way of writing onto.
Yeah,
and
I
it
guess
didn't
so.
exactly work well.
And the more you think about it, the more the plot seems a little forced and threadbare. Very few speaking roles, first off.
Yeah, there were like 10 voice actors in the entire production.
Right, and basically it's all Moana and Maui. And then, Moana's dad's at the beginning, so is her grandmother. The crab dude shows up, whatever his name was.
Yeah, the crab dude is, I don't know. He's good. I like him.
Yeah, he was fun.
Okay, so the plot goes that 1,000 years ago, Maui, being a gigantic screaming dickhole, decided to steal the source of all life in the universe. For some reason.
He says later that he did that so he could bring it to the humans so they would have the power of creation, but he really just ended up kind of dooming the humans. And he doesn't.
Yeah, but he doesn't.
He
doesn't really expand on that point or anything.
Yeah.
Or try to fight Moana about, hey, we should take this back to your village and then use that to create life on the island and stop the
whatever his
plague.
original plan was.
Yeah, but no, he just stole the. So near as I can tell, he stole the shiny thing because it was shiny. And then ran away and got his ass kicked by a volcano god.
So then this, the heart, the little gemstone thing, gets lost in the ocean, and Moana gets lost there too, and his magic fish hook, which helps him...
Maui.
Dang it, Maui. I saw all these promotions which said Moana, and there was this very distinctive person there, and I thought that was his name. Maui gets lost in the ocean. His magic fish hook gets lost in the ocean. It was cool to see a shapeshifter running around and doing awesome stuff.
Shapeshifting is always a cool power to see in action.
I hadn't seen
particularly if you don't have the shapeshifter baggage problem.
Yeah.
So you can turn into a blue whale or a fly.
Mm-hmm. And he was using
a fly that isn't the size of a blue whale, I should mention.
Yes.
So there's a distinct reduction in mass, but there's no explanation for where it goes.
Yeah, no. Go read Animorphs. It all goes to zero space, as I recall.
Yeah, or subspace, or any hammer space, or something like that. But okay, so basically, and that caused a doom plague of some kind that's draining the life out of
anti-life plague thing that is apparently very slow moving because it's been 1,000 years and Moana's island is still okay until the beginning of the plot.
Yeah. But once it does, the instant it comes to the island, it's like everything starts dying immediately.
Yeah.
But not humans, for some reason.
So just plant life? I don't know.
And fish. Okay, so Moana, when they first show up, it turns out that Moana's grandma is telling really frightening stories to these children who should never, ever be exposed to these stories, ever. What was wrong with you? Seriously, some of the kids start screaming and crying.
Yeah, not the best.
What happens next is Moana wanders out of the hut.
She's like 2 at this point. Maybe 4. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. The young enough age where little girls can go around without a shirt on and everyone thinks that's okay.
Yes, that age.
Yeah. And so once that happens, she goes down to the ocean and the ocean starts reacting to her. No. She sees a little sea turtle trying to get out to the ocean, and it's being pecked at by birds because they want to eat it. So she protects the little sea turtle thing until it gets to the ocean, and then the ocean glows blue! Yes, congratulations! Achievement unlocked! Completed escort mission.
Yes, you did. Those dang escort missions,
Yeah, and for some reason, this makes the ocean realize Moana is a good person, which you can tell when she's 2.
So, we've been told that the heart of Tafiti is the most important thing in the world here, and we have to bring it back to Tafiti. And then it just shows up. the ocean's like, hey, do you want the heart of Te Fiti? And we looked at each other like, wow, that was easy. Like, plot over.
You know that Staples commercial where they have the easy button? Yeah. That was this plot.
Yeah, it was weird. So she almost gets it, but like she puts it down, her dad takes her away, and we're like, oh, well, you missed your chance to get the heart there. And then there's this couple of songs that are all about life on the island and how basically it's all great, but you're totally not allowed to leave. No one's allowed to sail beyond the reef. And she's got a free-spirited nature, and she wants to sail beyond. And that's a lovely idea. It has kind of been done before. It definitely had flashbacks to Belle out of Beauty and the Beast.
Or Tiana. Okay, maybe not Tiana, but like... Actually, Tiana was like a workaholic who would absolutely not abandon these people.
That's quite different.
Yeah, but seriously, this is like Jasmine and Belle and
remember Strong Bad made a joke about this? The princess and her oppressive authority figure. 4.
Yes, the secret princess and the oppressive authority figure 4. That is this movie.
Yeah, that was so her father's a nice guy, and it turns out the reason he doesn't want anyone going beyond the reef is he tried it once and his friend died and he feels bad about it, which is a nice little touch, but they don't expand into much detail about all that. So basically, she wants to be free, and her father's saying no, and I'm having flashbacks to King Trident out of Little Mermaid.
Secret princess.
And her oppressive authority figure.
4.
I mean, I love the idea of Wanderlust. I do. I remember playing was it Zelda Wind Waker. We were out on the ocean. And isn't it such a cool feeling? I was like, oh, this is a movie with kind of that same feeling. Like, here we go, discovering whatever knows that's out there.
Hell, that's one of my favorite things in video games in general. Minecraft. I have spent literally days exploring the Minecraft world. And this is on the 360. It's not the super expanded version you get on the PC or the Xbox One or the PlayStation. No. This is the small one, and I'm still finding new stuff that I never knew existed. Mass Effect. The first Mass Effect game, a lot of people hated the Mako. I loved the Mako because I would run around and I'd be like, here's a neat mineral deposit. And they'd have little bits hidden around the world. Like, oh, okay, this is a person who died and they were trying to raise a communications antenna so that their company could broadcast into the Terminus regions. Okay, fine. That's cool. You have little things that make the world bigger. I love Wanderlust. I give into it all the time.
Unfortunately, this plot still felt threadbare in the midst of that.
But see, the thing about Wanderlust is you need something more than that. Like, Belle, she had Wanderlust.
She wanted adventure. She also found romance. She made like a dozen friends with all the people in the castle, right?
Ariel, she wanted to know more about the humans.
And then also had a romance thing.
Okay, but no. But like, there's more to it than that. She wanted to go...
she has something specific to go try and find a little bit, as opposed to the more vaguely, I'm sure there's something out there somewhere on the ocean.
Yeah, how do you know that it's not just nothing? Like, you're not the only thing for thousands of miles.
Yeah. The feeling is still understandable, but... So where do we go with this? We go with, she's got the Wanderlust thing, and she's kind of abandoned it all her life, and then... Finally, when their coconuts start dying and the fish start dying and stuff... Her grandma tells her, hey, by the way, the heart of Te Fiti that showed up like 14 years ago, whatever it was, I had it this whole time. And I just didn't tell you because I guess she was waiting for it to grow up or something. And, it turns out our people used to be explorers or voyagers, as they keep saying.
I do like this because it harkens back to the... most scientists think that the ancient Hawaiians come from the Polynesians who did follow birds, which they did kind of subtly hint at, that were migrating to Hawaii. And they followed those birds, and eventually they settled and became the ancient Hawaiians.
That's an amazing
so that's a nice little touch, you know? Shows respect for the culture, shows that you've done your research, which I do enjoy seeing. But, wait a second. How did the torches all light up when she hit the drums?
Magic? I guess. That was a little vague. The grandma says, go into this cave and find whatever's in there by yourself, because I won't go with you.
I thought this was going to be where we met Maui. Because, we had the boat with the symbol of the spiral on it, and the turtle, which I thought, oh, okay, Maui was the turtle at the beginning of the movie, and for some reason he was stuck. And this is the first boat we find, so this is going to be where we meet Maui, and the grandma knew that Maui was in here and was a friend of Maui's. So you bang on the drum, Maui comes in, says, "Hi, Grandma Moana, how you? You're not Grandma Moana. Wacky hijinks."
Yeah, instead she bangs the drum and gets, I don't know, was that supposed to be a vision or a deduction where she suddenly figures out we are Voyagers?
Holodeck.
Holodeck, yes.
It's like in Battlestar Galactica when Kara Thrace puts the arrow of Apollo into the statue, and then all of a sudden they're in the middle of this grassy plain.
Yeah, what was up with that?
Yeah, I didn't really get it either. Best excuse I've heard is that like ancient Kobalians had super advanced hologram technology.
I guess.
But
see our other video on how to fix Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah. Anyways.
So she shows up at the village meeting or whatever and like, hey everyone, we were Voyagers and we can totally sail beyond the reef and go
to a place that isn't dying horribly.
And
she doesn't really do it well though. She comes across as screaming, raving madman.
Yeah.
It was like, if you had the crazy cat lady from The Simpsons show up, it might have had about the same effect. Seriously, have her run up and throwing cats at everyone. That would have been about the same effect that Moana had on the decision making.
So not very good at the politics, apparently.
So
what is the goal here? So the grandma keeps saying it's important for someone to take the heart and find Maui, and you again bring the heart back to Fidi. Why Maui is necessary in this, I don't know. They keep mentioning it, and it was like, oh, you guys are just trying to work him into the plot, aren't you? Like,
I kind of figured it was more like you have to replace your own divot. Like,
I guess, but they didn't seem to be magically necessary. It's like, how about we replace the heart, and then we go beat the crap out of Maui afterwards, because, you know...
You mean the monster?
Well, no, I mean, be mad at Maui for messing it up. You know, make him suffer for his crime, is what you were saying, right?
Oh, okay. Well, no, you were saying that.
You're saying he had to replace his own divot, meaning he caused the problem, he has to fix it.
Exactly.
But if maybe he can't be found, in the meantime, we're still suffering this damn plague. So how about we go fix it, even if he's not around? You know, he didn't seem to be a necessary component of this thing.
Another thing I did think was, oh, he's like magic and stuff. Maybe that makes him immune to the plague in some way. So he's the only one who can go onto this island and stuff the heart in.
See, that would make sense. Then it would be, this is why we need Maui, but that was never made clear at all.
Also, you know, this demon god, this goddess thing, all you have to do is remove one rock and, you know, the entire planet explodes or something.
Really should put some guards around that rock.
I don't know, maybe bury it in lava, because, you know, your Hawaiian Islands, you should have access to lava. Maybe.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I don't want to think that maybe a crab who's looking for a shiny thing for his shell and not related to that other crab, you know, just like some
random passerby,
like a magpie shows up and is like, ooh, shiny stone, and takes it, and then like the god is going to destroy the world.
Yeah, it's a poor security system you got there.
Yeah.
So Moana tells them all this stuff, and they're like, whatever, we don't care. Her father in particular is like, no, we don't go beyond the reef. But then also, at that very moment, her grandmother is struck and ill.
Why, though? I mean, yes, they kind of foreshadowed it earlier that she was having a hard time sitting down, but, like, is she tied into the island? She showed that the Black Plague got to the island now, but there was no real indication.
It was purely plot-based. It was, wouldn't this be a good time for the grandma to die? Oh, there she goes!
Well, you gotta admit one thing. At least it wasn't one of the parents. Moana is one of the few Disney characters that ends the movie with the same number of biological parents that they started it with.
And they started with 2. That's even more rare.
I know, right? But, like, no. The grandma just exists long enough to drop a whole bunch of plot information and say, Moana, you are special and you should encourage your wanderlust, like every other Disney film out there. And then she drops dead. Which is really disturbing, actually, because Moana's doing this whole, I need to be a wanderlusting person who's exploring and delivering this heart to the place. Maybe not in that exact tone, but...
But it was an upbeat song that she's singing.
And then, like, she turns around and she sees, like, oh, the lights go out, and then this flash of blue light, and it streams into the ocean, and it's like, oh my god, the grandma just died, and we have this upbeat song, what the hell?
Yeah, that was a clash. The grandma had said before, like, oh, if I die, I'll come back as
Manta Ray.
It's Manta Ray.
And I leaned over and said, so I may kill Steve Irwin, my one nemesis.
Oh, no. Oh, poor Steve Irwin.
We miss you, dude.
Anyway. But, so anyway, when the Manta Ray shows up, it's like, oh, that must be her soul, and she must be dead. And there wasn't, like, a little lull in the song to be like, oh, wow, that's sad.
You know, Mulan had a song, actually, Mulan had a lot of really awesome songs.
Yeah.
You should just watch Mulan.
Yeah.
That was an awesome movie.
Yeah. Had the girl protagonist and everything.
I still say, Be a Man is my favorite Disney song ever.
That is up there, man. It definitely is.
Yeah, but, like, they have this song, A Girl Worth Fighting For, and they're talking about, like, what kind of girl they'd like to get with and stuff. But then something happens. The song just stops because they come across a village massacred by the Huns.
Right. That was an interesting transition.
They didn't, and even on the soundtrack, it just stops mid-beat. And it's like, that's on the frickin' soundtrack, man.
I like that. That.
And you'll notice that this is a lot more people than a single woman dying.
Yeah.
My God. Moana doesn't even seem to acknowledge, oh, your grandma's dead.
Well, she comes back later as a spirit thing.
Yeah, but at the moment, she doesn't know she's going to meet her as a spirit unless she's Merlin
true.
secretly.
Yeah, no, she doesn't really mourn for Grandma. She gets out into the ocean and gets caught in a storm, and then, she sails for a while, but eventually gets caught in a storm and gets washed ashore on Maui's island.
Oh, and we forgot to mention Hey Hey.
Yeah. Hey Hey the dumb chicken.
Yeah, Hey Hey has one character trait. This is a retarded chicken.
That's it.
That's, I
mean, he does help near the climax.
Normally, I wouldn't use that word, but that's the entire character. Mm-hmm. That is all Hey Hey the chicken does. And honestly, Hey Hey's whole plot point could have been done by Moana jumping a little further.
Yes.
When you could replace someone's plot point with, I'm going to exert a slight amount more muscle pressure, you really shouldn't do that with a character.
Yeah, I mean, I'll grant you that that's so few people to begin with. I'm sure somebody in production was like, okay, let's throw in an animal sidekick. But yeah, it would be nice to have a more developed animal sidekick. The iguana from Tangled was much more interesting than Hey Hey.
Oh, he was.
Right? Or the horse too. Maximus was his name, right?
I don't remember. It's been a while since I saw Tangled. Watch
Tangled.
Tangled
Yeah,
awesome.
there was, it gets back to this idea. There's so few speaking roles. So little variety when you have so few people.
And then Moana turns up. Oh, it happens that this is the island that Maui's been living on for 1,000 years. And Maui has... Wow. He has as much egocentrism as Guy Gardner from DC Comics.
Right, yeah.
Okay, if you don't get how much that is... Imagine if Trump was a linebacker in college, and that is this guy.
He's actually voiced by Dwayne Johnson, so you just imagine The Rock. Here's your starting point. Not that I'm saying he's necessarily egotistical in real life. I'm just saying.
Okay, we talked about Belle from Beauty and the Beast. Imagine if Gaston was a pro wrestler.
Yeah, a little bit like that.
That is Maui.
So he's absolutely full of himself, and he's like, oh, hey, I'm sure you're here to, like, worship me, and here, I'll sign your oar. Like, he's doing autographs and stuff, and then he locks her in a cave and tries to leave without her.
Why did he do that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, his song was fun, you're welcome, and it's like, whatever, but it like, doesn't fit with several things. He tries to murder her, if you think about it.
Yeah, because there's no way out of that cave.
There's no way out of that cave. He was stuck there for 1,000 years, so there is
he wasn't stuck in the cave.
But even if she got out of the cave, there'd be no boat for her to get out with. So she'd be stuck on the island.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, you're stuck here. So
she's kind of a murderer, if you think about it.
Yeah.
So she gets out of the cave with some kind of parkourish stuff I actually liked.
Yeah.
She didn't get to do that a whole lot, but it was fun when she got to do it. She jumps onto the boat, and he's like, oh, well, let me throw you off the boat. And here's where the ocean intervenes. So the ocean is, like, conscious, and it consciously gave her the heart. And
Well, it doesn't really do as much as you would expect from something that covers, like, 70% of the surface of the planet.
She gets stuck in that storm, and then she's like, hey, ocean, why didn't you help me? There is no explanation for this. There's no, like, the ocean can only give you 3 favors, or, like, something.
I think the implication was that it meant for her to go here, but if so, why not have a strong current push her there until he couldn't steer the boat anymore and got washed to this island? Because that would seem to be a lot less likely for Moana to slam her head into the ground or something.
Yes, and,
Which, yeah, she does that earlier. She hits her head on the reef several times. A smash between the reef and a boat. And all I'm thinking is, Kubo and the 2 strings had this happen to the mom, and she wound up brain damaged.
Yeah,
and that had about as many speaking roles.
Yeah, that's interesting. They made their speaking roles much more interesting in Kubo, didn't they?
Yeah.
They developed a lot more somehow. It's a good contrast.
Okay, so
the ocean is a living plot device. You had said earlier after you watched the show.
All it exists to do is to make sure that these 2 stay on the plot rails.
Yeah, she gives her the heart to begin with, sends her off to Maui when she otherwise, she was following the fishhook stars, because apparently the stars just point the way because they feel like it. Gods and stuff. So then when he throws her off the boat, the ocean keeps returning her to the boat. Okay, so, that plot option is now foreclosed just by fiat, essentially.
Yeah, he could have just walked up to her and snapped her neck, because he's got arms like... Dude, Maui has the physique most like strong mad out of anyone I've ever seen in any form of fiction. He was a square. He is a square that was angry.
That is strong mad.
Strong mad is Maui. Physically, at least.
It's all a crossover. So then she's like, okay, look, seriously, you need to come with me so we can bring the heart to Te Fiti and save the world. And he's not interested. Why is he not interested? I'm not sure. The world is doomed without him, and he made his whole career out of helping humans. He sang a whole song about, like, I raised the islands, and I, like, invented wind and coconuts and, like, everything you could ever imagine. So apparently he likes people, and now it's like all the people are doomed to slow death? He's like, I don't care.
You know what would have been a great moment in this story? They sail to an island that's closer to Fiji than Moana's island, and it's dead.
Yeah.
And not like Maui's island was dead, because that was like a shithole, but like
magically dead.
Like the entire place looks like it's something out of Fallout.
Yeah.
Except for
and abandoned huts while we're at it. People were here.
Like
now.
Skeletons.
Skeletons even. Yeah, got a little darker.
Yeah, and then you see Star-Lord dancing through the wreckage singing "Come Get Your Love." Because that is how this movie should go.
That's how it should go.
Okay, in all seriousness, the beginning does sound like the beginnings of Hooked on a Feeling.
Yeah.
So I like, they sort of sing, ooga. So I lean over at him, ooga chaka, ooga, ooga, ooga chaka. Yes, but, oh yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, saw that trailer. Yes, and
looks fun.
Also yes.
Mm-hmm.
So... And then
go ahead.
Moana starts saying, we need to bring this little stone, the heart, back to Te Fiti. And he's acting afraid of it, which he never does at any other point in the movie.
Yeah, what's he think the heart's going to do to him? It's not like an offensive weapon of any kind.
It's not a Green Lantern ring. It's not
kryptonite either.
It's not a magical totem.
It is magic.
Actually, never mind. It actually is a magical totem, but
it only works in one specific location.
Yeah, and he doesn't. He picks it up several times. He holds it in his teeth at one point. Like, this isn't some hostile thing to him.
But he explains. He says, "Oh, that's gonna attract like all sorts of monsters and stuff." Which maybe it does, but that's not clear. These little coconut pirates show up. And that's a fun idea, I guess.
Okay, the whole coconut pirate thing, it's a big-lipped alligator moment. It never gets mentioned again. But honestly, I love this scene because it's these little things that are about the size of coconuts. They have coconuts carved on them.
Well, they're like wearing coconuts as they were like a
full body suit.
Yeah.
With like little arms and... So they're coconuts with little lizard arms and legs. And they build these gigantic orc-like boats that are like... massive islands in and of themselves.
Like the boat is making more boats.
Like boats are splitting off of this thing. by which we mean the boat island is undergoing mitosis or something, and it's making more boat islands.
Boatosis. Wow. That's
yes, boatosis. Okay, I'm gonna bring that up.
Put that on a t-shirt. Yeah.
Yes.
Boatosis.
It is my opinion that is how ship girls from Kantai Collection have babies. Boatosis. Oh, Lord. Lord have mercy.
Mm-hmm. So there's a big old action scene where basically we lose the heart briefly and then get it back and then sail away.
You know, this would be the perfect opportunity for Maui to be like, yes, I can help you get the heart back. No, he starts running away at the first opportunity.
Yeah, why is he a jerk again? Because I forget. You know, so later on, he reveals that... So for his he was born as a human, and his parents decided to kill him when he was a baby, and they threw him in the ocean. So you think he would hate humans at that point, but he didn't, actually. After he got into the ocean, met the gods somehow, they gave him superpowers with his magic hook, and I guess he's also just super strong and tough even without the hook. That's a separate power. And then he went on an epic quest to like help humans in every way possible, except now he doesn't want to do that anymore. And I'm not sure when he changed his mind, because apparently the thing that changed his mind was getting punched by a lava monster, but there's nothing that getting punched by a lava monster entails that would somehow change your mind as to whether or not humans deserve help. He mentions very briefly that, like, people, it was never enough. People, like, you know, never really worshipped him or never really praised him, I guess.
But, you know, we never see any evidence of that. Again, there's only like 10 people talking in this movie.
Yeah, basically 5 if you think about the ones that count.
Okay, yeah. But still.
Yeah.
And so they sail then...
You could have had a story where, you know, he did the umpteenth task and, you know, about 1,000 years ago, and people were not thankful for him, you know, and then he got annoyed. And since then, ever since that pivotal moment, then he changed his mind.
I mean, you'd think that inventing oxygen would have been enough for these people.
Or maybe the fact that he was stranded on an island for 1,000 years made him bitter because he expected people to come find him. And this never comes up. It was just that one line.
You know, I was really hoping when I saw him, like he had drawn this hook on this rock made out of tally marks for how long he's been there. I was thinking he was going to be insane and like kind of, you know, driven mad from isolation. Wouldn't that have been an interesting character?
And then he'd have to like find his way back to sanity. That could be an interesting arc. Yeah. That's something.
Or hell, you know, it'd be a good song, you know.
And it could be a good song, yeah.
But so they go, okay, but fortunately I know the one guy who has to have my giant hook, which was taken from me.
Yeah, he just knows this. I mean, granted, yes, what's the crab's name? I had it here somewhere. Tamatoa. So there's a giant crab guy named Tamatoa who collects things and keeps them under the ocean because they're shiny, and that was a fun song.
Oh my god. This song, I was laughing pretty much the entire time that it was going on, just because, wow.
Yeah, he managed to be threatening and silly at the exact same time. I found that interesting.
Yeah, affably evil.
Yeah, it was nice. A different motivation than most other guys. He wasn't like, "Wahaha, I will conquer the world." No, he's just like, "Guys, it's shiny. Isn't that so cool?"
I'm amazing.
Yeah.
Are you trying to make me talk about myself? Well, if you are, then you are doing absolutely the right thing.
I will talk about myself in song form.
You think we're joking? These are pretty much word for word his lines.
Yeah. But anyway, so Maui just knows where he lives and just knows he probably has the hook. And what do you know he does? It seems plot convenient. It wasn't like they had any sort of particular clue or a magic compass or something to point the way.
On the meantime, like Moana and Maui go into the land of monsters to get the hook back, and she sees this monster. I want to know what the hell this thing was, because it looked like it was stop motion animation. It looked like it was Slender Man, if Slender Man was in Tron, so covered in neon lines and stuff, with like a out of the darkest regions of Africa stereotypical stuff, like mask of evilness. And it grew like extra arms, and it's moving all jerky and stuff, like stop motion, and it's about to attack Moana, and then it just gets catapulted into the sky ocean.
Yeah, the whole thing is in an air bubble at the bottom of the ocean.
I want to know what the hell that thing was. That thing looked amazing.
Yeah, you could have done more to build the world there.
Hell, that thing was scarier than the end boss.
It was. Maybe it was. So they go find the fish hook, and they have to deal with the giant crab guy who tries to take it away from them and stuff. But eventually they escape. So both the coconut people and the Tamatoa crab guy show up for one scene and are never mentioned again. And it limits their involvement, you know? And then our other boss is Teka, the lava monster, who is mentioned in the prologue and never shows up again until the very end. And I was saying to you, you know...
And like...
Yeah.
Okay, well, on the way to it, Maui's like, I'm nothing without my ability to shapeshift, because he can't shapeshift properly now. So Moana just gives him, like, the barest bones of speeches ever. I can't even recall a single line from this speech, but it's just so forgettable. And then Maui's like, yes, now I can shapeshift perfectly again. And then he starts flying through these rocks, and all I was thinking the whole time he was flying through it isn't, wow, Disney put in a lot of effort into this, or wow, Maui has overcome his weakness that was shown for all of 5 seconds. It was, oh, Hiccup and Toothless are going to be coming through the rocks the other way, and we should have Test Drive playing in the background. That's the awesome song when Hiccup is learning to fly on Toothless.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it's, and then like he's like, yeah, let's go to the place that whose name Matt can't remember.
Tefiti is the name of the goddess and the place. So.
Let's go to Tefiti, and so they go to Tefiti.
Yeah, apparently everything is just like a day's drive away. It seems like.
Yeah, why was this thing of you can't go to beyond the barrier reef a thing? Because it seems really easy to go to other islands.
Yeah.
Like really easy.
Yeah, I guess it's hard to show distance on an ocean. There's no landmarks for us to pass. But
yeah, but still,
it still just felt a little weird.
Yeah. And so they go, and he's like, okay, I'll take the stone, okay, and I'll fly in, okay, and then
get punched by the lava monster again.
And then like he tries to save Moana, even though she's rebelling against his orders, by blocking a lava shot with his hook, and it gets magically damaged to the point where he knows he can only take one more hit on the hook before it's out completely.
Yeah, this was ad hoc. They needed the thing to be damaged enough for him to get pissed off, and he has to know exactly one hit is left, and he also has to have enough magic left in it that he can abandon her on the boat, which is what he does after he tells her he's all pissed off for stuff. I get, poor strategy on her part or something, but, guys, you could have discussed her strategy in advance, maybe, or something. I don't know what you're doing. So he's all pissed off. He's like, the gods chose the wrong person when they chose you to save the world. And I'm thinking, why did they choose her to save the world? I'm a little confused.
To be fair, the gods really didn't pick the right person. How about someone who knows how to sail a goddamn boat in a movie, in a story where most of the action takes place on the ocean?
That sounds important.
Yeah, or how about someone who actually knows these stories better? Why didn't they pick the grandma?
Yeah, especially because this has been going on for 1,000 years.
And she at least knows where the boats are, so she could have taken a boat and left.
Back when she was young, right?
Yeah.
Just like, what were you thinking?
What were you
doing, Ocean? How many other islands have been consumed over the course of 1,000 years, and you couldn't be bothered to give anyone the heart of Tefiti? Just sitting around, Ocean?
How many fish? How big is the dead zone?
Yeah.
And, and the dead zone's got to suck, because you got to share it with Garlic Jr. Dragon Ball Z joke.
Okay.
Because Garlic Jr. was sucked into the dead zone.
I see.
Anyway, and I just killed that rant.
That's okay. I'm remembering that people have weird names in DBZ. So his name does not mean he is actually related to the food garlic in some way.
Yeah, him and his minions are all named after spices.
Okay.
But like
the
all of Dragon Ball Z, like pretty much anyone who has a connection to another person, they all have like a similar themed name. Like,
if you want to fight my dragon, you gotta get with my friend.
Okay, I don't know where that came
Spice
from.
Girls, Spice Guys.
Oh, okay.
Right.
The Saiyans are all named after vegetables.
Right, I heard that one once, yeah.
All of Frieza's race, who I've heard are called the Arcosians, are named after, like, things that mean cold. like Frieza, cooler, King
yeah.
cold, chilled.
So anyway.
Anyway, but
So he abandons her. And she's on the boat.
And she actually gives up the fucking stone to
Yeah.
the ocean. And it's like, she makes the ocean take it back. I was like, holy crap, this is a movie I could get behind. A movie where you say, no, I don't want this destiny.
That should be a movie at some point. Yeah, like where literally the character arc is to realize you're not supposed to be the hero right now. You're supposed to let somebody else do it.
Okay, granted, it could be better as a prequel or something.
Yeah.
But, you know, even that would lessen the dramatic impact, because it's like, oh, you already know this character isn't the hero.
Well, I don't know. As a side plot in a larger story, it could be interesting to have somebody be like, you know what? I have to be humble enough to realize this is not my job.
Yeah, you know, that's a pretty important thing. Of course, it's undermined by the grandma showing up again, despite being dead in the style of a Force ghost. Which, personally, I think was just the ocean trying to manipulate Moana.
I did not read it that way, but the ocean has been kind of a dick, so...
Well, see, if you looked at her the right way, you could see, like, little particles and stuff floating inside of her, which I took to be, oh, this is glowing in the same manner that the ocean does when it's trying to communicate with Moana.
I just figured the ocean was associated with the afterlife, because ocean, magic.
Well, it would also explain the hallucinations she apparently has of all those ghost boats.
Yeah, she gets singing up again about how great adventure is, basically.
And so she goes back to
Te Fiti to, like, do it all on her own, without Moana. Which is kind of interesting for a second there. You're like,
Maui.
Damn it, without Maui. Which is kind of interesting for a second there, because you're like, oh, okay, you have to do it without the guy to help you. But of course he shows up again, which is the most obvious thing ever. I was like, you're going to pull the Han Solo from episode 4 thing, aren't you?
Everyone does this. Jesus. I mean, and you want to know the kicker? Moana goes to the center of the lagoon that the barrier wall, the monster made.
After Maui shows up and he's helping her fight the monster and stuff. Like, she was competent on her own, and then Maui shows up to help her afterwards.
Okay, so she gets to the center of the island, and it's like, oh no, the island goddess whose heart I have isn't here. She's gone. And then she turns to the lava monster.
And it turns out the lava monster is, in fact, just the demonified version of the original goddess.
So, basically, this means that all those scenes, those awesome scenes we had of Maui overcoming his own self-doubt and risking his life and his hook.
Yeah, he sacrifices the hook, even, in the middle of the scene.
To defeat this demon monster, utterly pointless.
Utterly pointless.
Just no point to them at all. You could have walked up to the island, holding the stone up above your head, given it to the lava monster, and said, okay, we're done. We're going our own way. Bye-bye.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, the ocean could have done that 1,000 years ago.
Considering that the stone, magic stone thing, wasn't anywhere near Te Fiti, so it had to have taken the stone to Moana's island... to give it to Moana so she could take it
back to Te Fiti.
The long way, remember, because you had to find
You had to find Maui first and go find his fishhook.
Yeah, when you could have, since it's a lava monster, done a tidal wave over the island to freeze it in place and then splash the stone onto it.
Yeah, could have done that.
This would have been done in about 5 minutes. No need to involve Maui or Moana at all.
Yeah, no, the ocean is a living plot device. Everything it does is specifically just to drive the plot, and we are the type who will freaking notice that.
Yeah, we are. It's just a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And then Moana gets back to her island, and everyone's like, yay, Moana, you're back.
And you saved the world.
So I guess you're right for some reason.
I mean, she did save the world, but again, the ocean could have done that by itself. Could have done that, even if it needed a human helper. To get a human helper like 500 years previous, why don't you?
So you know, you don't have islands being consumed by this doom rot thing.
Yeah. I mean, how would we fix this? It would have to be...
and then the end of the story comes when everyone is on boats exploring.
Yeah.
Again, because...
Because I guess we're not so afraid of the ocean anymore. We learned how to sail.
Yeah.
Shrug.
Yeah, I'm so glad that we showed the long, epic journey that the village undertook to... Yeah, fuck this movie.
So yeah, how would we... Oh, I was going to say earlier about villains, though. if you compare this to so many other things, compared to The Lion King, for instance, Scar is there right from the beginning, and he has an impact on our characters, and we build a relationship, even if an antagonistic relationship, with him. So when we face him at the climax, it freaking means something. We know who this guy is. We've been interacting with him the whole time. This, though, who are our villains? Coconut people for one scene, the crab guy for one scene, and the big boss is Tafiti, or, the Taka, whatever you call it, for one scene. We never got to talk to it. In fact, it doesn't talk at all. There is no interaction. The villain just doesn't feel fully there.
It's a blob of lava that looks... It looks like the Walker of Sigma 957, I think it's called, from Babylon 5, except lamer, even though it's like 30 years after Babylon 5 was made, and the CGI sucked in Babylon 5 because it was so early. This is just... It's lame. You made a monster that... This is something that looks like it should have been... like at Night on Bald Mountain from Fantasia. Like, serving as one of the devil's lieutenants. Cratering the world and spreading lava and misery and death. And
you know what this should have
It's lame.
You could have done as if the damn thing had been chasing them throughout this movie. Then it would seem scarier. Like, while we're on the quest to find the thing, it's on the quest to kill us so we don't find the thing. Then you could encounter it 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, and hell, you were...
And if it had a personality, too, that'd be great.
Hell, the whole thing about volcanoes in Hawaii... They're everywhere,
That's
so you
right.
have plenty of opportunity.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry, Moana. This volcano hasn't erupted in hundreds of years. It's extinct.
Yeah.
Boom.
Boom, indeed. And if it had, I don't know, hatred behind it, sort of a vague fire-based creature threat, I mean, sure.
It feels like it was compressed from a TV series.
Yeah.
You stripped out all the extra characters.
Yeah.
Like, you could imagine Moana going from island to island, encountering new
meeting
people.
all sorts of people. They should make a TV show based on this, but, just change it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She could forge all sorts of relationships, have different companions on her boat now and then. This could be like a manga series, I'm suddenly thinking. Like, expand this out. It would be so much more interesting. When your characters have so few people to interact with, you learn less about the characters too, right?
Unless they're talking to themselves, and you notice when they're talking to themselves. Unless it's a central part of the character's design, like it is with Deadpool, that's not really a good thing.
Yeah, and think of how the character arcs being compressed. I mean, Moana is a wanderlusting, kind of courageous type, and at the end of the movie, she's a wanderlusting, more courageous type. There was not a huge change there.
Yeah, if you think about it, she didn't really change.
All right. Compare that to, say, Mulan, who, at the beginning, doesn't like her way of life, but is much more lost as to what she wants to be, right? And gets much more of a change over the course of the movie, learning to be a badass, has several friendships that she develops, possibly a romance of the one thing, faces a more interesting villain. Deals with a relationship with her father, even though he's only at the beginning and the end of the story. It's still a major change. Moana faces her father, but it's not as deep.
Okay, let's go a little more recently. The movie I was comparing it to was Disney Animation's most recent picture, aside from Moana. And yes, this is a way they described it. From the people who brought you Zootopia and Big Hero 6 and Frozen comes Moana. Well, see, here's the thing. If you're comparing it to Zootopia, Moana really falls short because you had a huge cast of characters. You had interactions of the large and small variety, and not just talking about like polar bears versus shrews.
No, I mean, just take Judy, for instance. A relationship with her parents, a relationship with her boss, a relationship with Nick, a relationship with that cheetah guy who also works there, Klaus Hauser. Her relationship with what's her name, the sheep,
Bellwether.
Her
relationship with Gideon Grey, that one bully from
that
the
one
beginning
bully
of the
who shows up again, and it's interesting how he's changed off screen.
Yeah, but it's a believable off-screen transformation.
Believable, yeah.
Because it's not just. Normally, I would say it's not believable that he could change that much off screen, but he was 10 when that happened, and now he's 25. It's understandable that he could get some therapy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but it also delved delved into deeper issues: racism, inexperience versus maturity, street smarts versus actual smarts,
idealism versus cynicism.
Yeah. And at the end, both Nick and Judy have changed from their experience.
Quite dramatically.
Judy still has her belief in the law and in the system, but it is tempered with the wisdom and experience that she gained from working with Nick. Nick, his cynicism has been replaced, not with, blind optimism, but with cautious optimism that he blends with his own street skills to form his own unique way of doing things. And that's just 2 characters out of the many. Look at Chief Bogo. He was the obstructionist character.
That's right. And then later, when Judy resigns, he's gone through a character change himself.
Yeah, I mean, okay. As I said in that review, I tended to view Bogo more sympathetically than you did, because I saw him as, rather than being, I'm a jerk to you because you're a tiny mammal, I'm a jerk to you because you're a rookie who has just gotten graduated and you're assigning me to my beat when I need all the capable officers I need.
Understandable, yeah.
But even so, he appreciates Judy and trusts her judgment now.
There's just a lot more life in Zootopia.
Okay, so the 4 characters that we saw the most in Moana. Okay, we have the ocean, which does not change and is a lazy dickbag.
Yeah.
You have Hey Hey, who is a brain-damaged chicken who at one point tried to eat a rock and succeeded, and then vomited up the rock and tried to eat it again. And I really wish that wasn't...
There's one little moment where he's useful to Moana, but it's so small.
Yeah.
It goes by almost in the blink of an eye.
You have... Ocean, stupid chicken. You have Maui, who arguably could be the main character because he's the one who undergoes the most character change because he's less of an ass, but even that's not much.
Yeah.
And Moana, who doesn't really change.
Just gets kind of more courageous, but...
Which she really didn't need.
Yeah, I mean, compare that then to Belle, right? And I know it is cliched for a girl to always to have a romance angle, and I'm glad they didn't shoehorn one in. Yeah. But incidentally, the romance angle for Belle was she wanted adventure, she wanted something new, but the specifics of what that was, meeting all the people in the castle, and then, dealing with the crazy villagers, and then obviously the main thing is falling in love with the beast, and him changing too in the meantime. There was a lot more happening there. You got your adventure, and here are the details. The details... what is it? Moana kind of makes friends with Maui, but it's not as if she previously had a problem making friends. See?
Yeah.
If that had been a character problem for her, that could be a thing she deals with along with the quest to save the world. But instead it's, I want to go sailing, and she does, and she learns how to sail. And that was kind of her only thing.
When characters from a company that named themselves Rooster Teeth because their favorite video game insult was cockbite, have more depth and growth than yours do, Disney, you have failed. And I'm not just talking about Ruby. I'm talking about fucking Church had a fucking character arc. Granted, it was largely through season 6 through, 8 or 10 or something like that.
We're talking about Red versus Blue now.
Red versus Blue. Fucking Caboose had more of a character arc.
Funnier lines to start with, too.
Okay, fair point. Okay, but that's Caboose, so,
Yes.
Fucking Agent Washington. Agent Washington, who is kind of a parody of government agents.
Yeah, there was nifty ideas here that just they didn't get in beyond the surface. I really like what you said about it should have been a TV show. We would have so much more time in development.
Yeah, Disney could have made this a TV show. Just her going from island to island, maybe eventually picking up Maui and finding that this, you know what, great? Every episode she goes to a new island and hears a story about Maui. And how, this is the place where Maui first buried a sea serpent and coconuts grew from there. Mm-hmm. And she hears all these great stories about Maui, and it's all about her growth and her trying to find the right way to get to this island. And she finally finds Maui, and he's this massive disappointment because he's just an ass.
Mm-hmm. Could be interesting. And they
Like,
could have a long time.
He does
to
that song,
change,
and she's like, I thought you did all those things just to be nice. No, I'm doing it because I'm awesome.
Yeah, that was vague. He expects humans to praise him, but then he separately has a speech about how nobody thinks I'm good enough ever, and I'm not sure what they were going with that. Again, with more time, you could have explored the nuance that was apparently supposed to be in there.
Yeah, this... Heck with more time. Just spend the time more effectively.
That's true.
Less songs.
Yeah,
Okay,
I mean,
it could be that I don't like musicals in general.
As individual songs, each individual song was pretty great. But whether or not they contribute to the plot and really build up characters is, the whole song about, oh, nobody leaves but I want to leave, got kind of repetitive. Nobody leaves but I want to leave. Nobody leaves but I want to leave. There's not a whole lot of detail going on here, is there? Okay. Lovely tune, lovely visuals. The whole movie, lovely visuals.
Okay, we've talked a little about Frozen, but you want real Idina Menzel action. Wicked. Every song had something to do with the plot there.
I mean, really, really driving the plot, not just sort of
they're all
window
unique
dressing.
songs. It's not like a I want something more song, which is in every fucking Disney song. There is a song in Wicked, look it up, it is amazing, called Loathing.
Yeah.
It's about how these two characters hate each other so much, and it sounds like it's going to be a romance song. What is this feeling? So sudden and new. I felt it the moment I laid eyes on you. My pulse is beat racing. The face is flushing.
What is this feeling? Fervent as a flame. Does it have a name? Yes.
Loathing.
Done.
Unadulterated loathing. For your face,
for your clothing.
Let's just say, I
loathe
it all. Every little trait, however small, makes my very flesh begin to crawl.
From simple
Other loathing, there's a strange exhilaration in such total detestation. It's so pure, so strong, and I do believe that. I mean, even though it came on fast, still I do believe that it can last. And I will be loathing you my whole life long. Dear Galinda, you are just too good.
Dun, 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 dun.
How do you stand it? I don't think I could. She's a terror, she's a tartar. We don't mean to show a bias, but Galinda, you're a martyr.
These things are sent to try us.
Poor Galinda forced to reside with someone so disgustified. We just want to tell you we're all on your side.
We're all so loathing.
Okay, that's all that I've managed to memorize.
That's pretty much it. They just repeat themselves at that point.
Yeah, it's just the chorus again. But seriously, it's a whole song about how these two people hate each other to the depths of their hearts.
Yeah. No, heck, you could have had one of those with Moana and Maui, maybe, but even again, without getting into the details of the characters, it would still feel kind of tacked on. Everything felt like a little bit tacked on.
Yeah, like I said, you could have developed these characters better. You could have.
I mean, imagine if we had gotten rid of the ocean as plot device, and Moana hears of the legend and goes off all on her own to go save the world, having not been chosen by destiny. Just that one change, and you could make that change without screwing up the rest of the plot. That would just make it better.
And again, it's the destiny thing that always manages to grind my gears.
Remember Brave, the wisps.
I've tried very hard, including using recreational drugs and electroshock therapy to forget Brave. But sadly, that has not worked yet.
Oh.
But, yeah, I mean, it's just thank God for being born special and not having to do anything. You're special because destiny says so. You know what? In those stories, if I was in one of those stories, just out of spite from people telling me it's your destiny, I'd go home and I'd sit on my island and just wait. Because fuck it. You can do whatever you want, Ocean. Send us tidal wave to crush me, but I am not doing this. You want a meat puppet? Go ahead and get one. I won't be it.
Yeah, no. So should have been her own quest. I don't know why we needed anyone stealing the heart from Te Fiti to begin with. what was Maui's plan there? What was
Give humans the ability to make life, because that would have been such a great idea.
And he never proposes it hey, let's hey, you got the stone, that's great, let's make some life. That's a thing you can do. No, apparently. But then what were you stealing it for?
He just wants to get rid of it again. It's not really.
It is quite vague. So. Hell, I could practically compress Moana and Maui and have Moana go on a quest, and she gets shapeshifter powers halfway through as part of her quest to go save the world.
You know what? No. Her parents find her, and it turns out that she's a demigoddess. Yeah, sure, we're ripping off Hercules, but at this point, I don't care.
Yeah,
Still better.
Yeah.
It's like, you need to learn your true heritage as one of the gods.
Good work. Yeah, not specifically destined to do anything awesome. She just happens to have abilities. And that she then uses or learns to use or whatever.
She can still have the village be really important to her. She can still do all these things and leave the village eventually. Mm-hmm. Moana, it's time we told you your true heritage. Years ago, your mother and I were trying to have a child, but we couldn't. And then this space pod crashed into our backyard.
Supergirl Moana.
Dun, 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 dun.
Just flies straight up to Tahiti.
Yes.
Tahiti.
Superman versus the lava monster.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. That would work.
Yeah.
That would work. Yeah. Or, if you're doing Wanderlust as a theme, but also connection to the island as a theme, somehow that should be, the ongoing theme of the show, trying to figure out to what extent do you want to be individual versus to what extent do you want to follow your family's ways. Kind of like My Big Fat Greek Wedding, actually. Which is a rather odd comparison. But
I think that's the first time we've ever compared those two together.
You know what I mean? And you do it with, a magical setting and so forth, but some or other draw out that idea of the old ways versus going in your own way.
Which is a conflict that has just existed for fucking ever in fiction. And there is only one instance of it where I have ever seen it coming down in favor of the old ways are right, you should stick to them.
What's the instance?
Chakotay, Star Trek Voyager. There was a thing where Chakotay was told by Spirit Quest, you need to accept the wisdom of your ancestors and go back to those ways and follow the beliefs of your tribe, otherwise you will be left adrift in the world.
I see.
To be fair, and I want to say this right here and right now, Chakotay's tribe and his people and everything about his whole character were bullshit. And no, you don't understand.
Okay.
I'm not saying bullshit I personally don't agree with it. This is like destiny, blah, 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 blah. No. Chakotay from Star Trek Voyager was written by Jamake Highwater, whose real name is Jack Marks, a known con man who tricked people into believing that he was an expert and actual Native American. The man was not a Native American. Oh, wow. And he successfully conned people for years into thinking that he was. When he died, multiple people came out and said, no, this guy was a fucking fraud. So, yes, it was racist and stupid that Chakotay's moral was, you should stick with your own kind and be an Indian forever. That actually might have sounded more racist. I don't actually know. But in the defense of the show, they were fed this huge script of lies that said that Chakotay's people didn't use bows for hunting, but did use dream catchers for everything.
For hunting?
No. For adults.
Uh-huh.
When they're just for children.
I see.
Male children, I think, actually. I need to check that. Actually, I don't, because I don't care. Incorporated things from 20 different Indian tribes, Native American tribes, and it was super racist as fuck. So, somehow, I don't think that exactly makes the case that you should stick with your own kind. This is a struggle that has been going on forever in fiction, and never has tradition won out.
I think that says something about our American heritage. I'm guessing in other countries, more traditional countries, their stories are different.
Okay, that is true. Yeah, that is really true. I mean, it might. I don't know.
I don't know their stories.
I mean, anime actually that would seem to fit because like all the new ways never work, but as soon as you pick up a hunk of metal that existed in the Sengoku or whatever era, you know, you're fucking invincible.
Yeah, katanas are just better.
Yeah, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. I have a... You know what, Japan? I have a secret for you. Japan? That shit stopped working in World War II when we brought machine guns against your katanas. And, spoiler alert, we kicked your asses.
I did hear something about that.
Yeah, you know.
So anyway, back to Hawaii, or the Polynesian islands or whatever.
No. These are the Hawaiian Islands.
Oh, okay.
Because Maui is, well, Maui.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So yeah, the story just it didn't have the depth it needed. There's a lot of ways we could have added the depth. Maybe I'll come up with a whole plot later.
Okay, seriously, when Wreck-It Ralph was more engrossing than this story.
Wreck-It Ralph was better than this.
Wreck-It Ralph was a story about a video game character who didn't like living in a dump, so he decided to go to Candyland. Okay, well, he went to a different game, but still. Different game first. But then, like, he went back to living in the dump at the end. And that was still a better character arc.
It was.
Because he at least okay.
Well, he got respect from his coworkers, so to speak. Okay. And he found a friend,
and he, like, built his own house. He decided he stopped being this ogre, basically, and...
became a member of the community.
Exactly.
Actually, wait, that's kind of like a guy who, you know... he doesn't completely go a different way. He modifies tradition a little bit, you know? It's kind of what we were saying.
Yeah, he goes back to the old ways of doing stuff, but he does it in a way that he's happier.
Yeah.
So I'm not necessarily saying throw out all tradition.
No, of course not. No.
Just traditions that are bad, like ones that stifle you.
Yeah.
Unless you're the Imperium of Man, where most of your traditions have a really good point, unless they have a really bad point, but you know what? It's 40K, fuck it. Never mind.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Okay, so all in all, I'm probably not going to buy the DVD.
Yeah,
and I bought the DVDs for most of the things that we've watched.
Even the bad things?
Okay, some of them I did buy them specifically so we could
right,
watch them,
yeah, that's true.
I gave you Equestria Girls because I didn't want it in my fucking house.
Yes. You gotta keep yourself for safe distance from these things.
Yeah, you know. But like the stuff that I openly say, I like this, I will usually buy the DVD or merchandise for, just to support these things that are good. I bought Kubo and the Two Strings.
It's a good movie.
It is a really good movie. It's better than this, and it had less characters, but somehow more
depth.
Everything.
Yeah. I gotta feel like I need to watch these two movies back to back to see what the difference is. How do you make a small cast shine, you know?
Oh, and hey,
like Kubo was not just a hero. He had like his storytelling thing, like his gig, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what did Moana have? Did she have any other hobbies or anything at all besides just wanting to go off onto the ocean very vaguely?
No,
there was no other details to her. She had no childhood friends.
She had a pet pig.
She had a pig that, you know, you can't really talk to a pig. Nor was it one of those animal companions that, you know, has like human level intelligence without words.
Yeah, like the moose in Frozen or the horse in Tangled.
Yeah. Or, no, it was just like, hey, it's a pig. That's kind of interesting. But,
or Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars Episode 1.
Skywalker. Yeah. Boy, oh boy. I keep redoing the prequels in my head.
Yep.
So I guess we've said what we can say.
Yep, that's actually everything that I could possibly say about Moana. I'll come up with something else like 4 weeks later.
Okay. We'll be waiting.
No, you won't.
I know.
Okay, so anyways, I'm Sith King.
And I'm Sonic Sons.
Signing off.